The flames reached the sky like an angry beast, roaring at anyone who dared come near. Smoke curled upward, thick and choking, but above the chaos, one sound cut through: 2 little girls screaming for help. And that was the moment Ethan Cole, a quiet, humble farm mechanic, threw himself into a nightmare no ordinary man would dare face. He didn't think. He didn't prepare. He didn't pray. He just ran. The night everything changed. Ethan had just closed his garage for the night. His hands were still greasy, his shirt soaked with sweat, and he was about to head home when he heard a distant crash, followed by a scream that froze his blood. He sprinted down the road until he saw it. A minivan flipped on its side, engulfed in flames. A woman was pounding on the shattered window, crying desperately. "My babies. Please. My girls are inside." Ethan didn't ask questions. He didn't wait for help. He grabbed a crowbar from his truck, rushed to the burning vehicle, and forced himself through the heat. Through the cracked window, he saw them, 2 tiny twin girls, no older than 6, huddled together, sobbing, their faces streaked with soot. "Close your eyes, sweetheart," Ethan said softly. "I've got you." With blistering hands and lungs burning from smoke, he tore open the back door. The fire climbed the metal like hungry fingers, threatening to collapse the roof. Ethan reached in and pulled one girl free, then the other, shielding them with his body as he rolled away from the flames. Seconds later, the car exploded behind them. The mother collapsed into tears, hugging her daughters, whispering thank you through her sobs. And Ethan, shaking, coughing, blistered, simply said, "They're safe. That's what matters." He refused the ambulance. Refused attention. Refused praise. He only said, "I'm just glad I was close enough to help," before walking home under the quiet, watchful moon. The next morning, Ethan woke at dawn, expecting a normal day: feed the animals, repair the old tractor, maybe fix a neighbor's lawn mower. But when he stepped outside, the ground trembled. The air filled with wind so strong it whipped dust into spirals. And then, one by one, helicopters appeared on the horizon. 5. 10. 15. All descending over his small farm. Ethan shielded his eyes, confused. What in the world? When the first helicopter touched down, a team of men in black suits approached, followed by a woman in a crisp white coat. And then the last person stepped out. The mother from last night, no longer covered in soot, no longer panicked, but dressed in a formal navy suit, looking like she stepped right out of a magazine cover. Behind her were the twins, holding stuffed bears and waving excitedly. "Mr. Cole," she said, walking toward him, "I didn't get to thank you properly." Ethan scratched the back of his neck. "You don't need to." But she raised a hand gently. "My name is Isabella Grant." Ethan froze. He recognized the name instantly. CEO of Grant Aerospace. One of the richest women in the state. Owner of the very company that built the helicopters now crowding his farm. "I didn't know," he muttered, stunned. "You weren't supposed to. And that's what makes what you did even more meaningful. A life-changing offer." Isabella stepped aside, and her security team carried forward large crates. "We did a full background check this morning," she said. "Your workshop is struggling. You're behind on mortgage payments. You're working 3 jobs just to keep the farm running." Ethan's face flushed with embarrassment. "I don't need charity." "This isn't charity," Isabella replied firmly. "This is gratitude." She opened one of the crates. Inside were brand new industrial tools, machines worth more than Ethan could dream of ever affording. Another crate held engine scanners, hydraulic lifts, welding rigs, everything a mechanic could ever need. And then Isabella handed him a folder. A job offer. "Ethan Cole, I want you to become the lead safety engineer for Grant Aerospace's Emergency Response Division. Your instinct saved my daughters. That instinct can save thousands more." Ethan's jaw dropped. He wasn't an engineer. He was a small-town mechanic who didn't even finish college. I don't know if I'm qualified." Isabella smiled softly. "You had no training last night. No protective gear. No backup. Yet you made decisions that trained professionals fail to make under pressure." The twins ran up and hugged his legs. "Thank you for saving us," they whispered. His eyes stung. His hands trembled. For years, Ethan had fought alone, poverty, loneliness, guilt from losing his parents early, the crushing burden of keeping the farm alive. But in that moment, everything shifted. The challenge. Accepting Isabella's offer meant leaving his quiet life behind. It meant moving to the city. It meant stepping into a world where he felt small and unprepared. "I'm just unsure," he admitted. "I've lived here my whole life. My parents built this farm. It's all I have left." "You won't lose it," Isabella said. "We'll maintain it for you. Think of this job not as leaving your past, but as honoring it." Ethan wrestled with the decision through the night. He had battled for years to stay afloat. But opportunities like this didn't come twice. And the image of those little girls, alive because he chose to act, kept returning to him. By sunrise, he made his choice. A new beginning. Ethan joined Grant Aerospace. At first, he struggled: fancy technology, high-pressure meetings, engineers with PhDs. But Ethan had something no textbook taught. Grit. Instinct. Courage. He helped develop a rescue-ready vehicle design inspired by the minivan he had saved the twins from. He worked on fire-resistant materials that could save countless families. His insights changed safety protocols across the company. And Isabella? She didn't just become his boss, she became someone he trusted deeply. Someone who believed in him when he still doubted himself. As for the twins, they visited him every week at the lab, always bringing him homemade drawings with big, smiling stick figures labeled "Our Hero." The inspiring message. One night during a company gala, Isabella raised a glass and said, "Some heroes wear badges. Some wear uniforms. But sometimes, the greatest heroes are ordinary people who decide to act when it matters most." Ethan looked down at his calloused hands, the same hands scarred from fire, yet capable of changing the world. He finally understood. Courage wasn't about being fearless. Courage was choosing to run into the flames anyway. And that choice had saved 2 little girls, transformed a struggling mechanic's world, and created a future brighter than he ever imagined. Ethan Cole had imagined many outcomes after joining Grant Aerospace: new challenges, new responsibilities, maybe even new friendships. But he never imagined becoming a target. For the first few weeks, everything felt like a dream. The twins adored him. Isabella respected him. His team admired his instincts. But success, even when earned, has a way of shining too brightly. And bright light always casts shadows. Whispers in the hallways. Ethan didn't belong to the world of polished floors and glass towers. He still wore the same worn boots he used on the farm. He spoke plainly. Honestly. He didn't pretend to be anything he wasn't. But to some, that was a threat. One person, in particular. Dylan Pierce. Lead engineer. Arrogant. Sharp-tongued. And for years, the favorite of the board. From the moment Ethan walked into the lab, Dylan watched him like a rival. "Farm boy thinks he's an expert now," Ethan once overheard him whisper. It didn't bother him at first. He was used to being underestimated. But things escalated faster than he expected. The sabotage. One morning, Ethan arrived at work to find chaos. His workstation was torn apart, tools scattered, wires pulled, prototype components missing. "What happened here?" he asked a passing technician. She looked nervous. "There's a rumor that you caused a system failure last night." Ethan blinked. "I wasn't even here last night." "I know," she whispered, "but someone logged into the system under your ID." His stomach dropped. Someone wanted him gone. And he already knew who. Dylan. Within hours, the board summoned him. The conference room felt colder than ever. Isabella wasn't present, she was overseas for a meeting. The chairwoman folded her hands. "Mr. Cole, we have concerns. Your access card was used to enter restricted areas and alter safety protocols." Ethan felt the walls closing around him. "I didn't do that. Someone set me up." "Do you have proof?" He didn't. He only had his word, and around this table, that meant nothing. "We are placing you under review," the chairwoman said. You may not enter the lab until further notice. It felt like a punch to the chest. Ethan walked out of the building with trembling hands, the weight of humiliation burning inside him. The twins find out. That evening, as he sat in silence on the porch of his small company apartment, a car pulled up. The twins jumped out before the driver even opened the door. "Ethan," they cried, running to him. He forced a smile, hiding the exhaustion in his eyes. "Hey, you two. Shouldn't you be asleep?" But Ava, the elder by 2 minutes, frowned. "Are they saying mean things to you at Mommy's company?" His heart tightened. "What makes you say that?" "We heard Mommy talking on the phone," Lily added. "She sounded upset. She said someone was trying to hurt you." Ethan inhaled slowly. He knew Isabella cared. But he also knew her world was complicated, dangerous, even. "I'll be okay," he said softly. "I promise." The twins hugged him tightly. For a moment, that was enough. A visit from Isabella. The next morning, before dawn, a familiar helicopter descended onto the field outside his home. Isabella stepped out, wearing a formal black coat, her expression tense. "Why didn't you call me?" she demanded. "I didn't want to bother you," Ethan replied. "You were traveling." She looked at him with an expression he couldn't quite read: anger, relief, guilt. "You're not a bother, Ethan." He looked away, unsure how to absorb that. She handed him a tablet. "I reviewed the footage myself. Someone tampered with your ID badge logs." "Dylan," he said quietly. Isabella nodded. "He's been removed from the project pending investigation." "But Ethan, this goes deeper than jealousy." "How deep?" She hesitated. "I think someone is trying to sabotage our emergency response program. And you, because you designed the new rescue system, are standing in their way." The weight of her words hit him like a storm. Ethan wasn't just being targeted by a jealous engineer. He was caught in a battle far bigger than he ever imagined. A new challenge. Isabella stepped closer, her voice softer. "You saved my daughters. I will protect you with everything I have, but you need to be careful." Ethan nodded slowly. He had faced fire before. Smoke. Heat. Danger. But this time, the flames weren't outside. They were within the very walls he worked in. And he was about to learn that saving the twins was only the beginning of the war he would have to fight.